Alright, are we going? Okay. So, before we start in Revelation 12, I just want to bring up two corrections to what I said yesterday. Some of my listeners point out some things. And the first one is that I said in the book of Revelation, Jerusalem was never called a holy city. I'm sorry, that's wrong. The Jerusalem, as far as national entity of a group of people, was not holy, and it's with their crucifying the Lord, they're spiritually called Sodom and Gomorrah. That's true. However, it is called a holy city in Revelation 11:2. But the court which was not without the temple leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles in the holy city. They shall tread under foot 42 months. Jerusalem is called a holy city, but at that point it's just a reference to the city of Jerusalem. It's another phrase for the city of Jerusalem. It's not talking about the people being holy. In Matthew 28, I'm sorry, 27, 51, Matthew 27:51. And it says, "And behold, the veil of the temple is rent." This is after Jesus' death. "And behold, the veil of the temple is rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves are open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of their graves after his resurrection, and went to the holy city, and appeared unto many." So there we see again, the holy city, just a reference to the physical city of Jerusalem, because that's historically where God had his people. So. Anyway, the other thing I want to mention is I brought it up, but I don't think I pursued it, if I remember correctly, in Revelation 11:13, talking about the earthquake. It talked about the 7,000, how it's a reversal of the 7,000 who were the remnant in Israel that did not bow to Baal, and the end of the world, the 7,000 standing for the small number of people who don't bow to God in their hearts. But I forgot to mention what the earthquake is about. And let's go to Isaiah 6:11-13. Let's start in verse 9. Isaiah 6:9. "And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed." Well, Jesus quoted this numerous times throughout the Gospels, just talking about the people of his day being hardened and refusing to see him as the Messiah. So he applied this verse. And verse 11, Isaiah 6 says, Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate, and the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land, which is scattering the people, the Jews. But yet it shall be in a tenth, and it shall return, and it shall be eaten as a teil tree, as an oak whose substance is in them. When they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. So, in verse 11 it says, "Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant." Another translation says, "Until the cities be actually crashed down in ruins." So talking about an earthquake, or just ruins. And in verse 13 it talks about but yet it shall be in a tenth, or a tenth with the earthquake, and it shall be returned, and it shall be eaten. They're talking about the trees losing their leaves, but there will still be a holy seed left. So again, just once again talking, applying that, a tenth of the city falling. So that's what that's about. Okay, in Revelation 12, it's a pretty decently long chapter. However, it's more of told in a story instead of a lot of little incidences. So what I'm going to do here in Revelation 12 is I'm going to read through it um, pretty rapidly. There's not a whole lot to explain except a few key concepts. And then I'm going to read through it in another translation that will just kind of verify again what I say those main concepts are. So in Revelation chapter 12, verse 1, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Let me just pause right here and say that's the Jewish nation. It's the woman. 12 stars meaning the 12 tribes of Israel. The sun and the moon, talking about remember of Joseph, the sun and the moon, and the 11 stars bow down, to him. Just talking about the nation of Israel. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and in pain to be delivered. And there appeared a wonder in heaven. Behold, a great dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and he did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Some people will apply that to Satan bringing down a third of the heavenly host down to him when he got cast out of heaven. I'm not sure. I don't know. The Bible gives us very, very few pointers to Satan's existence before his own fall. I know people point to Isaiah 14:12, talking about how thou fall from heaven, O Lucifer. But if you look in the context, it's kind of hard to apply that to Satan. It seems more to apply it to the people of to the king of Babylon. And then Ezekiel 38, I believe too, is people try to say it's Satan. And it very well could be, but I think more the context would talk about those kings. So I don't know enough about Satan before he became the enemy to say if this is applying to the angels being cast out with him or not. I don't know. Verse 5, and she, the woman, brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Again, this is the Jews in Micah 5:2-3. Okay, Micah 5:2-3. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me that is to be the ruler in Israel, whose governing forth hath been from of old, from everlasting. Therefore will he give them up into the time that she travaileth hath brought forth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel. So he's talking about, again, a woman travailing and bringing forth Jesus, who has been from old, from everlasting, and talking about he will be the ruler in Israel. So the woman here is in Revelation 12 is Israel, and almost any commentator would agree. It's talking about Israel. There's not much debate there. Okay. 6. So whenever you read the woman, just think of it as the Jewish people. Okay, and Revelation 12:6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Okay, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before God day and night. So at the same time that Satan is cast down, the kingdom is given to the people, to the saints. And this is talking about when Jesus. Well, it began when Jesus began his ministry but it really was sealed off when he died. Let's go to Luke. And I gotta find the chapter and verse, I'm sorry. Just a second. Okay, Luke 10:17. Luke 10:17. This is after Jesus had sent the 70 out, and he had told them, in verse 9 he says, "And heal the sick that are in, and say unto everyone, the kingdom of God has come nigh unto you." So the kingdom of God started back then. Jesus said the kingdom of God is not going to come with signs and wonders. It's going to come with, the kingdom of God is already among you. In verse 17, the 70 returned again with joy, saying, "Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name." And he said unto them, "I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven." Okay, another, more accurately with the Greek tenses, it says, "I was watching Satan falling from heaven," meaning when they were preaching the word and doing all this, Jesus saw Satan falling from heaven. So this is when he was falling from heaven. Satan in Hebrew means the accuser. In Revelation 12, you see that he's called the accuser. The accuser of the brethren was cast down. Satan, you find in Job that Satan had the perfect. Let's go to Job here. Job chapter 1. Okay. Job 1:6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. This is the sons of God in the Old Testament sometimes refers to angels, sometimes it refers to humans. It's pretty obvious here that it's referring to angels, I believe. And the Lord said unto Satan, "Whence comest thou?" And Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking down in it." That's why I think it's in heaven, because he's referring to the earth as if it's not there, that he came from the earth. He's not on the earth anymore. He's where did you come from? Well, I came from walking up and down the earth. So I don't think he's on the earth when he's talking to the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, "Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and stays away from evil?" And Satan answered the Lord and said, Does Job fear you for nothing? Okay, you have made a hedge. Okay, but anyway, then verse 12 it says, "The Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your power, only upon himself put not forth thy hand." Then Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, meaning the heavenly courtroom, if you want to call it that, or throne room. So Satan had free access to heaven, and God wasn't like, "Oh, get out of here." It was more just like, "Okay, where you been?" So Satan had access to heaven, if you can believe that, before Jesus died. But when Jesus introduced his kingdom, and especially when he died, Satan did not have that power anymore. And this shows too, Satan is bound as far as deceiving the nations. He's not bound as far as activities. He can still act in the world, but his power to hold the nations as a whole in bondage and darkness to the gospel, which was before Jesus came, only Israel knew the gospel and a few proselytes. His power on that aspect is bound. He doesn't have the power to deceive the nations. So it says here in verse 10, "I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast